Alright guys, so today we're going to take a closer look at the American DJ Element Hex IP. I've got two different models here. On the right hand side is the older one, manufactured in September of 2017. Let's see if you can see that here. We're going to zoom in just a little bit. Down by my thumb you can see September 2017 right there. And then the newer model is, I believe, January 2019. You can see this sticker right here. Can't tell if the light is blocking that, but 2019. So, 2 years or so difference in the two models. So the newer one's on the left, the older one's on the right. These are IP rated, so that means you can have them in outdoor settings with moisture to an extent. So you can't, have a pouring rainfall and expect these to survive it, but they can be in damp conditions, damp locations. It says not for household use, not for residential use, but I think that's just a FCC warning or something. But anyway, I want to take this apart and show you. Well, first I want to mention a couple things that I don't like about this light. First of all, you can see this foot right here broke off. So I'm going to bring that closer. Let's see, there we go. That foot just sheared right off. If you look at it from the side, broke right off, whereas these are still there. And there's a tiny little hole you can see right there. I wonder why that hole is there, because I feel like that is the reason that the thing broke off. But the metal is so thin and so brittle that you have to be very careful. If you set this thing down or even drop it slightly, like even from a couple inches, if you set it down on the ground and a little bit on the side, you'll break the foot off. And I contacted ADJ about this, and they said they will not cover that under warranty. Even though the unit was under warranty at the time that this happened, they would not cover it. So I wasn't happy with ADJ about that, but that's one thing I don't like. So you have to be, because once that happens, when you set the light up, it's just wobbly. So that's a big problem at events. Sometimes I have to put something under here and it doesn't look so good. So other times I can position it just right and it doesn't wobble like that. But and then I thought about breaking off all of these other feet to make it uniform. But the issue with that is this bulges out. So even when it's fully collapsed, there's a bulge there at the bottom. So if you set it flat, it would never be flat due to the fact that you would never have contact with this part of it. It would always be sitting on top of here and be wobbling around. So that's not going to work unless you unscrew this. So there's you can see the screws on this articulating part here, which of course is to make it tilt. So fully extended, just like this. If you don't know anything about that light, this light, that's what that looks like. Sorry about the camera angles, but so I could take this whole piece off, but then I would lose that functionality. At least it would sit flat. So, that's something to consider. The other thing I do not like about these lights are these rubber feet, and it's a common complaint. Everybody that owns these knows what I'm talking about. These rubber pieces fall off, you lose them all the time. And when I say all the time, I literally mean all the time. Every event I go to, I know I'm gonna lose one, or one's just gonna fall off, and I'll be lucky enough to find it and grab it before the event is done. And I tried gluing these on. The glue doesn't work. I think I tried super glue. That didn't work. And I tried like this, I can't remember what the other material was, but that didn't work either. You can see, I think it was like rubber cement. You can see where I tried that on these. You can see the white dried rubber cement or whatever product it was that I used. I think it was that. Didn't work. They fell off and I lost them. So that's a key complaint about these that I have. Also, I wrote dim on this one because it is the newer model, but it's dimmer than. So I bought 4 of these in 2019, and then I bought 4 of them in 2017, and 3 of the 2019 models were fine. This one was dimmer than all the others. Again, I contacted ADJ about that and kind of some back and forths on email, and then they ghosted me after that. So I think I don't know what was going on there, but I think they just didn't want to replace it. I'm not trying to, put down ADJ, but it wasn't the best customer experience on this, that's for sure. Especially when these things go for $275 or so a pop. I've seen them for $300 a pop, so just something I got to live with on that one. It's a little bit dimmer than the others. I notice it, most people don't. But I wanted to take these apart and see, because I've heard the batteries are serviceable on these and that you can replace them. I know I'm going to have to one day. I don't have to yet, but a charge-discharge cycle over time is going to affect the battery memory and just the battery life in general. So I wanted to see how this thing comes apart. And I don't think it really matters which one I take apart first, but I don't even know if I should take the bottom off or the top off, but I think I'm going to start with the top. So let's see what we can do by taking this thing apart here. And this is a wobbly one, although this table's kind of wobbly. So this one doesn't have any missing feet, but it is not even sitting straight, probably because it could be this rubber cement. I'm not really sure, but it's just not the best build quality. The light quality is good. The IRDA is good, the infrared. The DMX bridge is mostly good, except I control it on my iPad and I have issues connecting, but once I know how to work around it, basically I just put it in airplane mode, put it and take it out of airplane mode, and usually it syncs up that way. But I've had issues with these, and the other issue, I won't go into too much detail here since we're taking this thing apart, but is sometimes all the lights just flash. They flicker for no good reason. I've talked to some people about it and wasn't able to get a resolution on that. So if I've got these set as uplights in the room, they'll all blink kind of randomly throughout the night, only a few times in a few hours of usage. But it's enough to where, again, I notice it. Other people probably don't notice, probably don't care, but I don't want my lights blinking when I don't instruct them to blink. I don't know if it's interference on the 2.4 gigahertz radio frequency spectrum or what it is, but that's an issue also. But anyway, enough talking. Let's take this thing apart. So those are, I believe, metric screws. So I'm just curious if I'm going to be accessing the battery this way or what's behind this when I pop it open. I want to make sure I don't strip these. I might grab a handheld screwdriver for that. Be right back. All right, let's see. Let me adjust the camera just a little bit here. All right, so 4 screws on the top. And they're all the same length. Or are they? Actually, no, they're not. So these back 2 are longer. So let me put them side by side. The front 2 were short. It's kind of hard to show you in this view. Let me see if I could do this. That's also not a very good view. But anyway, the one on the right is shorter. Maybe you could see it on the palm of my hand. The one on the right is shorter there. So, not sure why that is, but just got to remember that. So, the front 2 are shorter than the back 2. Alright, so that just lifts right off. And this is a rubber seal, and I believe this is part of the IP rating. So I'll give this a closer look for you. You can kind of see that rubber seal in there. Right here. Whoop. I didn't realize that was going to fall off like that. But the glass, you could clean the inside of the glass if you needed to. So that's good to know. Actually, now would be a really good opportunity to clean the inside of that glass, but I don't need to at this time. So that rubber seal is probably part of the increased cost for the IP rated. So, sorry, having trouble with the autofocus. Yeah, it's wanting to focus on things that I'm not trying to. There we go, got to be in the center. So you can see that rubber that goes around the glass. That's part of the IP rating. I believe this cable right here, or this thing sticking out right here, is part of the IRDA, or the infrared. So that just popped off. Let's set that aside. Now it looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 smaller screws. Let's get at it. Okay. Put these 7 screws off to the side and lift this up and see what we've got here. Okay, so looks like the glass portion, and I'm being careful not to touch it, lifts up, and then I could detach this black metal piece from here if I wanted to. I'm not sure what that center thing is. I'd have to look that up in the manual. But anyway, let's just turn this a little bit so you can see. So this is clearly not how you get at the batteries. Again, I didn't do any looking up on this online of how to open this thing up. I just wanted to get going with it. And I'm going to move this light over here so you can see a little bit better. Oops, sorry about that. Hopefully that'll help on the light. Yeah, so that's the inside. The LEDs, 4 of them, and transistors and whatnot, and that's hooked up with a cable there. So this is not how you get at the battery. We know that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this back. So we'll put these 7 screws back in. Not going to tighten them yet, I might even just finger tighten these to get them started. No, it's not going to work either. They're so small, can't get my fingers around them. Again, carefully not touching the glass here. Two more. This one you got to be careful you don't strip the wire with the screw or pinch it down or anything like that. Go slow there. Make sure you're not rubbing away at the sheathing of the cable there. Alright, just tighten these, not too tight, just tight enough. Don't strip the screws. Okay, that does it. So now we put the glass back on there, make sure that IRDA is on the outside. Bring that closer. The camera's having a really hard time focusing on that, but that says IRDA. So set that on top. It kind of goes around the housing there just a little bit. Nothing special though. We put this back on and then screw it down. The 2 big screws in the back and the 2 little screws in the front. Like I was saying earlier, I did not look at the manual, I did not go online, anything to see how this should be taken apart in order to replace the battery. I just started finding screws and unscrewing. It's kind of how I like to do it. Just being careful to know which screw goes in which hole, and making sure you don't lose track of any parts, and you understand how it goes back together. So let's just make sure it still works. Yep, there it is. Let's flip it over. This is where we get at the battery. So we got to take these 4 off and these 4 off, I'm thinking. I'm going to have to do this by hand as well, because I don't want to strip these. They're on there pretty tight, really tight. Jeez. Those are on there really tight as compared to the others. I gotta think these are handmade. That one's on there so tight I'm not sure I'm gonna get it off. Nope, I think I got it. Kind of hard to get at. You have to articulate that arm to get at the screw. Let's check the length of these. You know, I don't even know if I had to take these off. Let's leave them loose for now and take off these outer ones and see what that gets us. I'm just going to start to unscrew these and then use the drill for the rest. That's frustrating because this thing is not... I understand why they do it. I'll show you that. Actually, I'll show you that here. You know, you've got a tall end and then a short end here. And I believe... Well, I don't know why they do that, to be honest, but I think it has something to do with this handle and maybe the direction of the light, because the wall's going to be on this side. And then you kind of want to shield the light from... You don't want to direct light in this way. Out here, you want the light to go here if the wall is here and it's an uplight. So I think that's why they do that. Also, the handle is a little bit easier to access when it's like that. So 4 screws of the same length. Get these other 2 off and let's see if we see a battery. Okay, this lifts up and out. And there we go. This is the innards. So this must be ground chassis. So in order to get the battery pack underneath here, I would have to remove the logic board, and I don't think I'm going to do that today because I have no reason to replace anything here. Nothing is needing to be replaced at this time, but you can see, I'll show you the logic board up close. The thing that says Synapse in the corner, I believe that is the infrared receiver, or maybe that's the wireless. That's probably actually the wireless 2G, 2.4 gigahertz network for the DMX bridge is my guess. I'm not sure what these other components are, but the battery, I can see it underneath there, deep in there, that little silver. I believe that's the beginning of the battery pack. So if I had to get that out, I would just unscrew this logic board, disconnect some of those cables, and pull it out and replace it and put it back in. But you can also see the rubber here, right around here. That's the IP rating again. So anyways, that's it. Gonna put it back together and replace the batteries some other day when I have to. Like I said, don't want to muck with this thing. If it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. So let's leave it the way it is, and maybe get some of this rubber cement off there. So yeah, that's my quick run through on these lights. I like them. They're pricey, but they're good. They're small. They're not too heavy. I wish they were a little brighter, but even with battery save off, they're not very bright. But they're just bright enough, especially in low light settings. They're plenty bright. But if the light is, if there's a little bit of ambient light, they're not very bright at all. But they're battery powered, and they last a long time. They last a solid, I would say, 6 hours. If they're 100% charged and you're really thrashing them with blinking and fading and changing colors and everything. I think some of the colors use more electricity than others, or use more power than others, but it's a good light. And compared to Chauvet, I think Chauvet's got some nice stuff, but these are good lights. So hope you enjoyed this. Let me know if you have these lights, what you think about them, and any other questions you have. And thanks for watching.